Alright, I thought I was a smart guy yesterday recording a video about Dillon Danis versus Logan Paul, predicting it because there could have been no big news, right? They could have happened from Wednesday night to Thursday night, right? Well, here we are. Obviously, the press conference happened. Now I gotta talk about that, and I thought I might as well just re-record it and, talk about some of my thoughts and predict the fight. And while you're at it, I want to remind you guys to hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and share. We're trying to hit 20K by the end of the year. You guys are the best fan base MMA, so you're gonna help me with that goal. And I want to talk about the press conference. And the press conference, first of all, it was a great press conference, but I think the zone could have had it gone a little bit longer. It was at the end of the day like an 8-minute press conference for each guy, and I don't know, man. I want to hear the trash talk, man. I'm so hyped. I'm so invested in this fight, and I can't believe it because I did mention recently. I said, look, when the fight was first announced, you guys can see from my announcement video, I said, hey, I don't think the fight's gonna happen. I didn't really seem so enthused about it. I said, hey, Logan was obviously going to win, and now I'm at a point where I'm like, man, I'm super excited for the fight. I think Dillon's done a phenomenal job promoting it. Not to take credit away from Logan, because as I always say, to defend Logan, it takes two guys, right? You need two of the right partners, right? Khabib and Conor, right? They were just the perfect duo to sell that kind of fight, and these two are also another great duo that can sell the fight. And I think a lot of people are invested because of the trash talk with Dillon Danis and Logan Paul. Because of who Logan Paul is, people are actually appreciating Dillon Danis for his trash talk, and also it's just funny. I mean, some of the things he says and some of the things he posts is objectively funny. It just seems like everything happened all at once and it was just a perfect storm, and now we have this massive fight, and I'm excited. But what happened at the press conference? Obviously, you guys saw it. Dillon Danis and Logan Paul, they got into some sort of exchange, right? So Logan Paul throws a prime bottle, looks like, at the leg of Dillon Danis, and kind of walks up to him trying to intimidate him, and Dillon Danis smacks him in the face with a microphone and cuts Logan Paul. Logan Paul's running off stage, and look, I had mixed feelings about this, but look, honestly, I think Logan is kind of a clown for this, because look, you initiated it, dude. Like, you went up to Dillon Danis acting like a tough guy, and then he checked you. And then for people on Logan Paul's team to be like, oh, it's a scumbag move, don't compare throwing a plastic bottle to throwing a microphone. Guys, look, this is the fight game. This is the type of shit. What the fuck are you talking about? I mean, Conor threw a fucking dolly at Khabib. Did you see Khabib, cry about it? No, right? They fought. They had their thing. Clearly, they're still not good, but still, they had their fight, and that's that. And this is why people don't respect these guys as fighters, in my opinion. It's because this is not the type of talk that fighters would have, right? Fighters want to go in there and fight. Logan, at the end of the day, is a walking billboard, and that's why nobody likes him. I'm sure there's people that like him. I don't mean to be like that, but for the most part, that's why people can't relate to him. That's the problem, is that he's not relatable. He's turned himself into this like billboard prime promoting robot that has fucking the most basic opinions. So that's why I think a lot of people are siding with Dillon Danis. Like, I think if Dillon Danis did this to another person, maybe they would feel bad, maybe they wouldn't find it as good, but Logan is just one of those guys that kind of does deserve a little bit of karma, especially with the scamming stuff. But I digress. Look, at the end of the day, I think that Dillon Danis, was it like a great thing to do? I'm not like saying, oh, that was amazing, but it was stupid from Dillon Danis, because honestly, he could have just fucked himself, because the fight could have been canceled. Now he has a lawsuit. Now he doesn't even have payment. Who is he gonna fight? Mike Perry? Mike Perry's a lot harder of a fight than Logan Paul, I can tell you that much. But yeah, crazy press conference. I'm so disappointed, dude. This might be one of the only fights that we've never seen a face-to-face for in the history, because we didn't get it at the last press conference, didn't get it at this one, and who knows if we'll get it in the weigh-in tomorrow, because I'm looking to see the size advantage for Logan. Like, how big is Logan compared to Dillon? I mean, obviously, I assume that Logan is the bigger guy. He usually walks around over 200 pounds, while Dillon's fought at 170, but I want to see what the size difference is between these two. And now that I've talked about the press conference a little bit, I mean, I'll talk about KSI Tommy Fury. I mean, that was pretty entertaining. I thought KSI had some good bits. I thought that Tommy Fury had some good bits, but most of all, I think John Fury kind of stole it with him yelling and things like that. No fighter really got anything good across. I did like that Logan Paul brought Chris Hansen. Maybe it's because I watched some Chris Hansen, but I really appreciated that. I thought it was funny. And look, I know a lot of people are going to shit on Logan, and I shit on Logan, but at least I'm honest, so I'll admit, I thought that was funny. I saw some people saying it was corny, that it failed. I thought it was funny. I thought that was good. I thought that Logan was winning the press conference up until the end, because look, especially how they handled the situation and everything like that. I mean, Dillon has just gotten in all of their heads. But let's get into the fight. Can Dillon Danis wins? Now, I'm gonna say this off the bat, okay? Look, I don't know who's gonna win this fight. I think it's gonna be Logan. I'm gonna go with Logan by decision. I'm just gonna say my prediction right off the bat, because this is one of those fights where there is a pretty obvious favorite. So I don't like, to just lead you guys on. I'm sure you guys already probably clicked on this assuming that was my prediction, Logan by whatever. However, though, I do think that Dillon Danis could bring some interesting stuff in the fight. What do I think each guy needs to do? Let's start with Logan, all right? And this is why I think Logan is gonna win. Logan has a great jab. He's taller. He's faster. He has the boxing experience, right? And he has good reflexes too, even though he got hit with that microphone somehow. So I think that Logan's game plan, especially when you're looking at Dillon Danis, a guy that is most likely going to clinch, but we're going to get into that when I talk about Dillon Danis. You're going to want to stay long. You're going to want to stay away from him, use your jab, and I want him to let that right hand go. I was rewatching the KSI Logan Paul fight. I mean, Logan Paul had some good right hands, and look, KSI obviously, especially then, wasn't exactly the best, but I don't think Dillon Danis is either the best. So I do think that he should let that right hand go. He had a few really good right hands that sounded clean, that looked clean, looked fast, fast. And I think also for Logan, you have to stay really measured, you know what I mean? Don't look for the knockout early on. If the knockout happens, it'll happen, okay? If you're really that better than Dillon Danis, the knockout's gonna happen. You don't have to force it, because if you force it and it doesn't happen, that could do something to your mind. That could do something to your cardio. That could do something to you in a lot of ways. And especially with how Dillon has riled up Logan Paul, I think this is what Dillon Danis wants. Dillon Danis wants Logan Paul to come at him swinging, get tired, and then Dillon Danis take advantage in the later rounds. That's a risky game plan from Dillon, though, however, because that means he has to take the shots. Now, will he? I'm gonna get into that right now. How does Dillon Danis win this fight? Now, that's a more interesting question. Obviously, the guy has no boxing experience. If you look at his MMA fights, he's a jiu-jitsu fighter. And can you use jiu-jitsu in a boxing match? I mean, no. You obviously can't use jiu-jitsu in a boxing match, legally, of course. But there are things that you can implement from jiu-jitsu going into a boxing match, one of which is having cardio, okay? That's something that Dillon Danis will have. If you've been grappling for that long as Dillon Danis, you're gonna have tremendous cardio, because grappling is one of the most exhausting exercises or anything that you will do. If anybody watching this has never grappled ever, I guarantee you go try it, and by the end of the first round, you're gonna be tired, you're gonna be done. Imagine that, but Dillon Danis is at the highest level of grappling. So I think his cardio is going to be on point. I don't think he's gonna gas out. I mean, yes, maybe he could gas out if Logan Paul is hurting him, is touching him up, and is making him go backwards, because this is something unfamiliar to Dillon. Usually you can get tired if you get nervous, because your heart is just racing. That's why I say nerves and emotions are a lot more important than people actually let on. Like, a lot of people say the trash talk doesn't play a factor. It depends on who you're talking about sometimes. Like, someone that's cool, calm, and collective, it might not affect, but somebody like Logan Paul, who clearly, I mean, and let's be honest, this is something personal that we've never seen before. Like, I assume that there's probably a lot of pressure on him. I mean, he has his fiance to defend. I mean, he has a guy that he's supposed to go in there and beat pretty easily. Like, that is public convention. Like, if Dillon Danis makes it past like 3 rounds, or even gives Logan a little bit of trouble, and even if Logan wins all 6 rounds, and if Dillon Danis just gives him some trouble, he's gonna get some shit for it. There's gonna be people out there that say, oh, this guy sucks, he's not as good as Jake. So there's a lot of pressure on Logan Paul to really perform here. And the last time Logan had this kind of anxiety was when he was gonna fight KSI the second time, and he said that he had a lot of trouble starting because of it. And like I said, I think for Dillon Danis, man, I just hope for his sake that he really has been training some boxing. I actually did some research, and I gotta say, I found his gym. I actually found where Dillon Danis is training. All right, the name of the gym is Coulter Fight Club. Now, I did some digging into this. This is an MMA gym, okay? That is a bad thing, but they do offer a lot of boxing classes. Like, there are guys in there that do train boxing. However, there isn't anybody that specifically trains boxing, right? There's a lot of guys that do kickboxing and boxing, a lot of guys that do Muay Thai and kickboxing. Doing kickboxing and boxing, they're different, right? They're just slight different things that are gonna get you in trouble. Like, a lot of kickboxers, they don't have good head movement, and that is something in boxing you usually want to have, because usually you're getting hit in the head a lot, while in kickboxing, he's not gonna get hit in the head as much. And it also matches a lot of the things that he has posted. So I'm very, very confident that he's been training here. He didn't train in the same place that he did that thing with Aiden Ross that whole stream. Even Dillon said that he went to the city to do that. That wasn't his boxing gym. And I've even seen Dillon Danis post pictures with his boxing coach. So I know that this is legit. I think that Dillon is training here. So at least he's been training somewhat, but will this be enough? I'm not so sure. This is definitely one of those typical MMA boxing gyms that you would see, like an MMA gym, like an American Top Team. Not obviously has high level, but you know what I mean, with like a bunch of people in there, your typical MMA gym. Will that be enough? Look, at the end of the day, here's something to consider, is that Logan Paul has all this money. He spends a lot of it on the boxing. You know, he does invest a lot in himself with boxing and recovery and everything. So it's kind of hard to beat somebody that has all these resources when you're just using normal resources. Now, I don't think that means that Dillon will automatically lose because of this, but I am saying that it does mean that Logan has a huge advantage. Another thing I want to talk about is it does look like that Logan's eye is swollen, or there is some sort of thing there. If I'm Dillon Danis, I'm attacking that eye. And last but not least, as I always say, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. I think Dillon Danis could do a lot of sneaky things in this fight that are jiu-jitsu moves. And I'm not talking about, okay, let me choke Logan unconscious and win the fight. I'm not talking about that. But even doing things, you know, when Logan ducks his head, guillotine him a little bit, especially because Dillon is so good that he can guillotine with one arm. So it's not even like he needs to do a whole thing like Nate Diaz did. And I'm not saying to do that to, you know, just hurt Logan Paul. Like, that's gonna make Logan gasp, because he's gonna have no air. He's gonna take a deep breath when he comes back, and it's just gonna increase his heart rate. A really sneaky move I said on my stream that he could do is like when you'll like tug the arm and almost like break it kind of, and just do little things like that in the clinch. Is it cheating? Absolutely. But like I said, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. And let's be honest, Logan has all the advantages going into this fight. So Dillon Danis, I mean, look, I think that he has to do some of this stuff. You know what I mean? I mean, Logan is the bigger guy. It scares me that it's 6 rounds, but I don't know who that hurts and helps. Honestly, it hurts both guys. It also helps both guys a little bit. It all depends on how the fight plays out. But my official prediction, like I said, is Logan Paul by decision. I think that Logan's going to get this done. I think he's not going to knock out Dillon Danis. Hearing people talk about Dillon Danis winning reminds me a lot of like how they used to talk about Ben Askren and Jake Paul, and Tyron Woodley and Jake Paul. And I'm making a lot of similar arguments that people made for those people back then, but I will say one big difference is Ben Askren, Tyron Woodley, Anderson Silva, those guys were all at the end of their careers. And regardless, if you think that those guys could beat Dillon in a boxing match, I'm talking about damage here. I'm not talking about who's good. And another thing to consider is that Logan is not Jake, right? Logan doesn't really commit to a lot of shots. And Tyron Woodley, Anderson Silva, Ben Askren, they've all took tons of damage throughout their career, so they're going to be easier to knock out, while Dillon Danis has not taken a lot of damage in his career, mostly done some jiu-jitsu. Honestly, I would say maybe Logan has taken more damage in his career than, honestly, Dillon has. So yeah, I'm going to go with Logan Paul, but guys, I want to hear what you guys have to think. Tomorrow's the fight. This is the last morning we're going to have until the fight. I'm going to be making a video tomorrow talking about everything that happened, I'm sure. Thank you guys for watching. You guys are the best fan base in MMA. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.